Welcome back. Glad you made it. It's another social production. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you very much for joining me. It is Wednesday, November the 9th, 2022. Before we get into it, I just want to say ahead of the game, before we get right into it, before we start dribbling them balls all over them courts, there is a building fire alarm test going on. So if you do hear any abrupt noises, the fire alarm ringing, do not panic. You're not having a stroke. It's not in your place. It's not in your head. It's in your eardrums, baby. And that's where I like to keep it. Fire alarm tests. So yeah, they're doing that throughout the day. You might hear a couple of them or a few of them during the show. Do not panic. It's out of my hands. It's out of your hands. And you're like, what if it's for realsies? What if there's a fire going on in your building, in the studio? Let it burn, baby, let it burn. I'm not gonna, you know what, that's what it is, priorities. And I'm not gonna like sit here and let a little fire, and you're like, if it's a test, you should leave. If it's for reals, you should really leave. And no, I'm not gonna leave. I will let it, like, if it's, that's the thing, because I'm dedicated, I'm committed. I'll keep hydration in mind. You know what, I'll keep a bucket of water near me. I've got my coffee, I can like drink a little bit and like spit it out, squirt a little bit on them flames, and that's it until I wrap up the show, upload it for you, because that's what it is, baby. I'm not gonna sit here and get, you know, fazed by a little bit of flame or a little bit of fireworks. But it's a test, I assure you, it's a test. Remain in your seats, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We are about to take off. Fasten your seat belts. We're about to reach new altitudes, new heights. It's gonna be tight, baby. Shout out to the gang. Contrary to popular belief, a peanut allergy was not expecting to, man, when you fuck up a good joke like that, when you just say the wrong word and just, oh man, let's start that one right over. A peanut allergy is, man, peanut allergy, take 4. Peanut allergy is commonly, man, take 5, let's do it again. The peanut allergy, contrary to oh man, a peanut allergy. There it is. The peanut allergy, contrary to common belief, was not invented by ladies who don't like to take it. And man, the peanut allergy, man, this joke is. I thought it'd be a smoother delivery, not gonna lie. The peanut allergy, contrary to common belief, was not invented. Oh man, the peanut allergy, contrary to common belief, was not invented by ladies who don't like to swallow. Oh my God, there we go. Like take 8. That rarely ever happens. The peanut allergy, contrary to common belief, was not invented by ladies who don't like to swallow. There. Oh my goodness. Fact number 77. Contrary to popular belief, rock, paper, scissors was not invented by meth heads. Fact number 87. Doing it. My goodness, those two really just contrary to common belief, right? Shout out to the gang, we're doing it one small step at a time, you know what I mean? Good God. Good God. Good God, I hope you're all doing well wherever you are. Ladies and gents, there's a lot of things happening in and around this beautiful planet. I'll get started. We'll get right into it. A little bit of my own personal endeavors, my own little adventures. And it's time to have a little adventure. Let's have a little bit of adventure. Let's have a little bit of misadventure. You know what I'm talking about? How you start off your days, how you're going to end it. You're going to have to start on a high note to end it on a high note. How did I start my day? Really, you know, same as any other day, really. I got my routine that I go through. Get up, brush my teeth, come do my 10-15 minute workout regimen, have my first bowl of oatmeal, wash it down with some coffee, you know what I mean? And then maybe an hour later have my little bagel covered in Nutella, baby. That's what it is, followed by another cup of coffee. And this morning I was doing the same old, had my cup of coffee, had my bagel with the Nutella. And sometimes this will happen, your boys, I'll get a little bit of Nutella residue around the mouth area, around the mouth hole, around the face hole, and I'll notice it immediately. I'll resort to, you know, licking it off my face if I can, a little bit on the sides here and there. If need be, I'll grab a napkin or a tissue and I'll wipe it off. And that's what it is. Wrap it up. I've been through it, been doing it for some time now. I'm used to it. Nice and clean. You're good to go after. But rarely does this ever happen. I forget that I've just had my bagel with the Nutella and I might have a little bit of residue over here, there, of the old Nutella, because I like to apply a good proper portion. The ratio's got to be correct. Right ratio of Nutella to bagel or bagel. So this morning, what happened was I had my bagel and I was just like, running around the house, cleaning up, getting ready for the show, doing this, doing that. And I'd finished my bagel and I forgot that there's a little bit of residue left right here. So getting ready, it's maybe 9ish in the morning. I'm getting ready, a couple of, an hour or two before the show's getting. So I'm just, prepping, doing my regular things that I normally do. And then I hear a knock on the door. Knock, knock. Who's there? Annual fire alarm inspection check. We like to come in and inspect your fire alarm to make sure it's working properly, working accordingly. I'm like, sweet, just give me a second, I'll let you guys in, come do your thing. I unlock the door, open the door, there's a beautiful gentleman, and behind him is standing another beautiful gentleman, and he looks at me, and he looks a little bit startled. I'm like, come on in, and he's just looking at me a little bit different, a little bit funny, a little bit. He makes eye contact, but he's like also like tilting the head a little bit, just, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, come on in, guys, come on in, do your thing, thank you. And he comes in, does his thing, has his head down the whole time, not like watching over him or anything. Like, that takes like literally 2 minutes. And in my mind, I'm just like, oh my God, he must be low-key a fan of the show, and he wasn't expecting to be like knock, knock on the door 9:30 in the morning and be like, oh my God, I'm like, I can't believe it's this dude from the, I'm thinking in my head, maybe he's being a little bit shy, maybe he's got his head down, maybe he doesn't want to make eye contact. For me, like, eye contact, I get it. If you're not like, I'm okay with eye contact, but like, I get it. Sometimes you don't want to make eye contact. So I'm like, this fella, I get it. Maybe he doesn't want to make eye contact. He's just like in it for the business, got to do the work, in, out, quick, hit and run. You feel me? So I'm like, maybe he's just like focused on the work. Maybe he's being shy. He's like, oh my God, it's a big, he might be one of the 8 individuals that checks out the show on a regular basis, and we are flourishing one step at a time, baby. So I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, dude, I'm just like you, normal dude. You don't need to be like, we can make conversation if you like, man. You don't need to be shy. You don't need to, you know what I mean? I'm just like, man, must be a fan of the show in my mind. Finishes his job, thanks me for letting him in, and I thanking him, obviously, for doing his beautiful work. And again, without making eye contact, he's got his head down, and he's just like, he walks with his back to me out the door. It was a little bit like, he felt like a little bit like, not like uncomfortable, but like not comfortable either. And I'm just like, man, I just, you know what I mean? I don't want, like, again, we're all the same, dude. I don't want you to be like, oh man, this, that, glad you made it, fella. You know what I mean? It's not like that. I'm like, man, it's what it is. We're all the same. I love you as much as you love me, and I thank you for whatever you're doing out there. But that's the thing. And the moments go by. I'm doing my thing, still cleaning up around the house, sipping on the old coffee, doing my thing. And I go to the bathroom just to check something, fix something here and there, whatever. You know what I mean? Adjust a little this, put a little towel over there. And I notice, I look up in the mirror, and I got Nutella residue on both sides of my mouth. On both sides of my mouth, homie. And it hit me. I'm like, damn it. It was the look, the vibe that I was feeling. It wasn't a look of recognition or feeling of, man, I fucks with you. It wasn't one of those. It wasn't like he's being shy. I think he felt a little bit, I think he had questions in his mind. I think he had questions, and I'd like to clarify, if you're watching out there, if you happen to be one of the many fans of the viewers of the show, listener out there, if you're wondering what that residue was, I just want to clarify, it is Nutella, dude. It is Nutella. That's what your boy done, and you're like, man, it sure looks like you were, going face first in some butthole, dude. And I don't want there to be any misconceptions. I'm not against it. Not that I don't, you know what I mean? Like, if we're eating out, like, it's all fair game, you know what I mean? Depending on everybody's comfort levels and what have you. But that's the thing, it doesn't end up with, it's never really finished with me having like resid from like, you know, if you're eating ass, hopefully it's clean, you know what I mean? So like I just want to, that's the thing, like I've done it, I'll still do it, you know what I mean? But that's just, I just want to clarify, that's not from like, oh my god, was he eating ass? And like, how deep did he go? Like, no dude, I just like, you know, it's very, like that's Nutella residue, I just want to clarify. And he's like, sure, like really, no, it is Nutella. And you're like, if you didn't bring it up, we wouldn't have gone there with the thought. I just like to clarify so that there's no miscommunication or misunderstandings. You know what I mean? But I must have scared the shit out of him. This dude's just coming in like 9:30 in the morning to check a little fire alarm. Next thing you know, he's staring at a dude with potential doo-doo on his face. But it's not doo-doo. It's not poo. It's not, you know, it's not what it is. It's not what it looks like. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not what it looks like, all right? Just clarifying a little bit of his sitch. But that's what it is, man. Part of living in a building, part of having to deal with these little encounters, relations that you, not even relationships, because that's literally like 2 minutes and you'll see them maybe next year and it's probably not even going to be the same person. Regardless, I just want to, you know, everybody be comfortable. It's okay. That's what it is, man. In my mind, I'm like, man, he must be like he must be having so many questions, right? And he probably did. He's like, dude, what is on your face? Well, now you know. Now everybody knows. But that's what it is, man. Good times, ladies and gentlemen. I'm getting more and more comfortable with life as we go along. Of course, just learning little things that make the big things. Just part of daily routines. We get better at it with more practice, whatever it is. And I've gotten really good at make do mindsets or MacGyvering it, whatever it may be. And I'm talking about like circumstances that just pop up, and it's little tiny things. Sometimes it may be big things, but you're gonna have to make do with what is available, what is going down. You're gonna have to MacGyver it, whatever. You may not have everything at your disposal to make the best decisions, to make the best moves, to make it like, but you make do. That's what the whole point of make do, MacGyvering it is, right? And I've encountered a few of these situations and I've gotten really good at it. One of these situations is, again, living in a building, living in a apartment. Sometimes you'll have monthly inspections for the fire alarm. Sometimes you'll have quarterly water shutoffs for them boys and gals to come in there and clean them pipes. Feel me? So we got the good drainage up in the building. Hot water, cold water, what's on tap, baby? We got both. What you know about that? HC. Fucking waterworks all day, every day. But that's the thing. Every now and again, we'll get a little note in the elevator indicating that, yes, we're having a monthly or quarterly water shutoff. So prepare yourselves, you know, make sure all your taps are turned off. Make sure maybe you got a little bit of extra water. If you need it, it's between 9 to 12 or 9 to 1 from morning till afternoon, and then everything's taken care of. You can go back to your regularly scheduled programming in no time. But yeah, sometimes I'll notice that little visible notice in the elevator. I'm like, okay, cool. I see the notice. I see that I'm being informed. I got the memo. I'm going to make sure that all my taps are turned off, and I'm going to put away a little bit of water that'll be sufficing for your boy to get through his day from 9 to, let's say, 12 or 1 in the afternoon. Those are the good days. Those are the good days that I'm paying attention, gone in the elevator, see the signs. The signs are out there. Look for them, recognize them, learn to read them. Sometimes, though, I'll, just like anybody else out there, I'm in my mind, I'm doing many different things at the same time, I'm not paying attention, I missed a sign, and then I'm caught off guard. And that's when you come in, roll around, and it's like 9:30, and you're about to like, oh, I want to have my second cup of coffee today. And you go turn on the tap, and all you hear is a little hissing noise. And it just sounds like there are them snakes in them pipes. You know, not the type of snakes in the pipage that you're looking for, fella, lady. Just a hissing noise with a couple of dry squirts of air, and you realize that there's not going to be any water for a couple of hours, or at least a few hours. So now you're going to have to what? Make do, MacGyver it. And there's different needs that need to be met. One, making coffee. You're going to need water for that. And the most important one, you know, you could do without coffee for a few hours, no big deal, no harm, no foul. One instance, you're going to potentially need water that just to feel good about yourself. And I'm talking about when you have to, between the hours of 9 to 12 or 9 to 1, if you happen to have to go to the bathroom and drop a deuce or two, you're going to have to, you know, wash your hands. And if you're not, you know, if that faucet's not working, oh man, it's going to be we've been there. Awkward times. So again, that's just burnt into memory. For a few times I had to resort to, lifting the tank on the toilet bowl and like using the water, scoop out a cup of water from the tank, clean water, and like wash my hands that way. It just happened that the other day we had a quarterly water shut off as well, and this time I didn't have to use the bathroom luckily, but I was hungry, right? I'm like, let me make a little coffee, and I'm also gonna make me another bagel, spread a little bit of cream cheese, maybe a little bit of Nutella, mix it up, I don't know. But I'm like, I wanna have me a little bagel sandwich. But all my cutlery, dirty. Dude, dirty. You know what I'm saying? The dirty dishes. I didn't have any cutlery. I'm like, oh man, you're gonna have to make do. You're gonna have to MacGyver it. So what do? I look in the sink. I'm trying to find the least dirty piece of cutlery. Maybe a fork that's like, you toss forks and spoons and knives in the sink until you wash it whenever, or you put it in the washing machine. In my case, don't have a washing machine. I am the washing machine. It's meditative is what I tell myself. You know what I mean? A couple of ticks in between the meditation and all of a sudden you're like, man, this is working. So, point is that I'm looking around the sink and I finally find a fork that's kind of like sticking halfway in water, and maybe 3/4 of the fork was still like, the handle of the fork, let's say, was emerging out of the water, or at least it's not exposed to any dirt or food or previous ventures, let's just say. So I take it off, I clean it off with a little piece of tissue, with a little bit of Kleenex, and I use the end of the fork to scoop up some Nutella or cream cheese and make myself a little sandwich. And for that I am very proud, because it's just, again, that's just a little instance of life throwing you a little curveball and you having to make do and MacGyvering. And I oftentimes find myself in those little situations where we're like, oh man, things are not like 100%, but like we can still make do and we can MacGyver the shit out of this thing and turn that, negative into a positive. Turn, what is that? A couple of L's? Are those a couple of L's? What do you get? Put a couple of L's together, that's a W right there. What is that? It's the W's, but like L's, and that's not even an L. But I'm just like, classic case of lemon lemonade. But that's just what I wanted to share with you guys. I'm doing fine. I'm doing great, really. And things are moving, the way I like it. Nice and slow. Drip, drip, like molasses. Taking our time, taking our sweet little time. Making adjustments here and there, learning, growing. Baby steps with you guys. With the gang. Oh, man. Dry throat for a second. Hold on. Oh, good God. Boys and girls, what else is going on in the world? That's a little bit of me. What are you guys up to? What are you gals up to out there? Hope everybody's doing good. Hope everybody's, focused on their dreams, focused on their goals, their aspirations, and there are many different people that are, doing many wonderful things, man. I just want to, for a moment, if I could, we're keeping it loose today, but I'm very thankful. I'm very grateful. I'm very happy in terms of where I am in life, not just like me personally, like where I am in terms of like, I'm not talking about career. I'm not talking about overall like health and well-being. All that is like, just like literally physically where I am. I feel very blessed and very lucky to be in Canada, man. I love Canada. I love my home. I love our community, our nation. I love our neighbors to the south, the US. It's just, there's this, I was writing a little bit last night, as I normally do, try to write as much as I can. And I found myself writing a little bit of like, oh man, I feel a little bit romantic towards, a little bit more than a little bit, romantic towards like Canada and the US and Western civilization. Like Western Europe is a part of that as well. But like for me, it's like, its home is right here. And again, the US being so cool, there's this, I don't know how to explain it, but there's a huge amount of affection and love and just like feeling of appreciation. I don't even know what I'm trying to say there, but I'm very glad, let's just put it that way, that I get to be a part of this part of humanity, and we're all in it together. But yeah, I just want to put that out there. I felt really lucky and privileged because there's so many wonderful people doing great things, and not just to say that is like happening in Canada or the US or even in Western Europe. That includes all parts of the world. But again, you speak to where you are, or you speak from your own experience. I can't really speak from the the perspective of somebody, let's say, who's in like Australia or New Zealand or, you know, China or Korea or wherever. You know, this is where I'm at. So I'm feeling very thankful and very privileged. And I just, yeah, I felt a little bit like, man, what an amazing bunch of ladies and gents you all are. We all are together, trying to be part of it. And I just want to share that with you guys because it is, you know, despite the fact that we have many things that sometimes may appear as to, again, it's nothing. And again, I say all this knowing that nothing's perfect. We're not like reaching for perfection. I think everybody's just trying their best to do a little bit better each and every day. I know I am, hopefully. But that's just what I was feeling a little bit. I wanted to share that with everybody. So thank you again. And yeah, because there's just there's things that we could focus on to, you know, help make better, and there's definitely things that are fucking that'll just, you'll look at it and be like, that thing's already like working really well, or, you know, that fella's doing things the right way, that lady's fucking rocking and rolling. And sometimes it's individuals that are doing that, sometimes it might be an institution that's fucking like working properly, or it might be a company, or it might be a product that you're like, man, this thing really fucking it's doing its thing. But most often I get the most excited I get is when I find people that are fucking like rocking and rolling in their lane or lanes, depending on however many hats they're wearing. One, I gotta, you know, just, it is what is happening right now currently. I guess that's kind of like big for the US, big for Canada in a sense, because we're neighboring countries. We're like, we're that side, we're the Siamese twins. If you can, and again, you're like, what about Mexico and like South America? We're like, we're connected, we're one. But, you know, Canada and the US, we're like fucking, we're like cousins. We're like cousins, we're like siblings. Let's, you know what, we're like, let's make it like we're stepbrothers and sisters. Let's put it that way, just because, you know what I mean? There's a whole lot more you can do with stepbrothers and sisters. Hypothetically speaking, of course. But like if you're like straight up like cousins, a little bit, you know, problematic. Siblings, problematic. Again, you know, if we're just like, you know, what am I even saying there? I don't even know, dude. We're tight is what I'm trying to say. Tight like stepbrothers and sisters. In X-rated movies on the lines. Not like that, but you know what I mean. We're tight is what I'm trying to say. And like what is happening that's big right now in the US, that's impacting the US, that'll be impacting a lot of things. The midterm elections. And I don't know too much about it, right? What is the midterm? What are the midterm elections? The midterm elections, according to this guy, are the elections held during the middle of the term. Straight up facts, doggy, like straight up and down. So right now there's a midterm election going down in the US, and it's pivotal, it's monumental. It can dictate which way the country, the US, is going to be shifting towards, and how we're going to be all impacted and, you know, reacting in relation to that. And from my understanding right now, I think there's watching as an outsider from it, it's very interesting. I love everything about the US, whether it's art, music, history, politics. You guys are, it's a really cool thing because it's, Canada's similar but different, way different, similar in many ways but different. We're, you know, population has a lot to do with it as well. We're sitting at around roughly maybe 38 to 40 mil people. You guys have 320, 330 mil. And, you know, give or take a few here and there, but you know what I mean? So it's just bigger scale, it's bigger, super size, it's more, you know what it is. So it's just like, and you know, and that same affection and interest swings both ways, just like the way sometimes you might see us Canadians, or maybe even other people from around the world, whether it's again New Zealand, Australia, Japan, showing interest in US products, services, whether it be again art, technology, politics, ideology. It's just fucking US rocks, man. That's oh man, feeling really like, you know, what I'm trying to say is yeah, the midterms are, let's not get sidetracked by emotions. There's just a soft spot. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, man, but you guys have done a number on your boy. Those feelings. Point is that the midterms are important, I think. And it's yeah, and there's, I guess, as of recent in the world, we do see a tendency of ideologies shifting back and forth. We're always like swinging a pendulum to see what ideas are best. And I think for some time, over the past maybe decade or so, we've really shifted to the left, and now the pendulum's swinging a little bit further hopefully to the right, and then that way we can just like kind of like balance, and it'll always shift back and forth, so we can, you know, depending on what ideas are being I guess being put forth, what needs to be talked about, what's of importance. And yeah, I do see a little bit of that from I do see a little bit of it here in Canada as well. I do see a lot of people like, oh man, as much as like, you know, and that's the thing. I don't have a side personally. I've never felt like I belong to a left or a right group. I feel like I got a lot of ideas from both the left that I support, or they've got a lot of ideas that I might support, and on the right, on the conservative side, there's a lot of ideas that they promote that I also happen to agree with. So I find myself in that like middle ground where I'm like, man, I hate to pick sides. It's difficult to pick sides, but sometimes, like again, in the past 10 years, you might have seen a drastic sort of extreme narrative from the left, and this is both local and global. But we do see again a resistance to that, sort of balancing out of that little by little, and people are just like, I think mostly right now concerned with like common sense priorities, like the economy, inflation, you know, safety, secure, all these things. The major, I guess the economy and inflation probably is the number one priority of regular people out there who are living beautiful normal lives with their families and loved ones. So what I was trying to say is, with that all being said, I think, yeah, the midterms in the US is a pivotal moment, because I think we're going to be seeing a little bit of a change in direction. Again, I don't know I don't know when the results are coming in, but that is kind of like an indicator as how the next election will turn out. It's kind of an indication, more or less. Not to say that it's, not to say that it's, like whatever happens to the midterms, again, I don't know too much about it from it. It's not to say that 100% reflective of what's about to happen, but this time it feels like 100% reflective of what's about to happen. And I do think we are going to be seeing a lot of more people going out there and perhaps voting Republicans. And I don't know, again, I see this happening in the US, I see this happening in Canada and elsewhere as well. We do have this like binary system of left, right, blue, red, liberal, conservative. Same with the UK. A lot of places there's this always like binary, and I wish there was more viable options, just to make, I think it's good to have healthy competition, not just for the sake of like, you know, I like legit, I wish there was alternative parties as well, so that we kind of, I don't even know if that's a good idea. Overall, it's like what we have right now is great. I'm just like wondering, how do we make it even a little bit better in the future and moving forward. But that's the thing, I do see a little bit of a shift taking place, and one person that has, man, I didn't know this could happen, but a lady that I don't know much about, that I've seen a few times on the lines on the YouTubes. She's, I believe, a Republican candidate. She's a Republican candidate. What's her name? I want to say Carrie Lake. Dude. I've seen this lady talk a few times on the YouTubes, giving interviews and speeches and whatnot, and I didn't know you could, man. Because of what I'm trying to say is, I didn't know that you could, I got my, like, you know when you see like, take politics aside for a second, you know when you see like a clear hot chick and like kind of getting bricked up, or you see like a hot fella and like you're like, man, you're like, your loins are just like, you know, things are heating up all of a sudden. That is the same thing happened, except not in my pants, not in my loins, but in my mind. My brain got erect. My brain got hard, dude. I listened for a few minutes. And again, this is a very brief analysis of what I've seen of it. But just the reason why my brain got erect, the reason why I got hard in the brain and the head, dude, is because it's nice to see coherent speaking. Just from, like, in politics. Coherent and, like, fuck, dude, There's this little reporter doing, oh man, she's gonna, one phrase she said that just like, I'm like, oh my god, more of that, let's go. What did one of the reporters said something, and she came back with a line of like, yes, of course I'm gonna be in office doing the good work, as I don't know, is she a senator? She's running to be a senator, governor. I don't know your politics that well. You're like, you should. It's taken time, little by little. She's running, and yeah, they're like, if you were to, win and happen to be up for a candidacy of, becoming a VP, are you gonna do your job as a, is it a senator or governor? I'm gonna go. I don't know, but I'm gonna double down and say senator, governor, senator, governor. And she's like, not only am I gonna do my job as senator, governor, I'm gonna like, yes, of course I'll be like ready for, if President Trump wants me to, I'll run for VP as well, and I'll be there. And like, I'm looking at her just talking like just the way she talks, the way she's carrying her. It's a lady that you can, like, be like, yes, fucking doing her job. You know what I mean? It's just like, I want to see more of that. And I think we will be seeing more of that. I think a lot of people are gonna be realizing that, yeah, there are definitely great people doing amazing things. And not that I know much about her, not that I'm like top, but it's just overall, again, because of such a lack of coherency, or just because you hear other people talk sometimes, like political leaders out there, and it's like, oh my god, like, what is happening? This is like a bad comedy sketch, but it's so bad it's good, so you can't stop watching. Like, you'll watch, and again, this is not, I never say anything in terms of like, I don't know people individually, and I would never like, but like, for the positions that you hold, right? You have certain expectations. Like, if somebody's like, if you're getting paid to do a certain job, you should be fairly well versed in that job. A soccer player, an elite athlete, you're gonna, if you're getting millions of bucks on the pitch, you should be delivering. If you're a hooper, you should be, throwing them 3-pointers. If you're, whatever. If you're a musician and people are paying to see, you should be able to, like, perform at a certain level. Like politicians, as of late, we've had such a, certain candidates, certain people in office, like you'll hear them talk, and it's like, what is your ears are bleeding, your eyes are just like melting off your face because you can't believe what you're seeing. This is like the reality that we have to sometimes deal with. And yeah, when you hear like, again, Joe Biden, I feel bad for even saying, like, the dude's like, it's a grant. Let's get this guy arrested. Let's, like, you know what I mean? And I'm, again, Canadian outsider, but overall things do impact everybody in more ways than others, So you see a grandpa that's just like stumbling with his words, with his mannerism, he's walking into random nooks and crannies. He's shaking hands with no one. He's tripping and falling, looking at the floor, like it's all over the place. And then you'll hear like the VP, which is just, man, Kamala Harris is another. She'll come in with like, big issues that needs attention and focus and proper answer, and you'll hear her talk, and she'll bring up these like Venn diagrams, and you feel like she's talking to people or the media or everybody else that's on the ground as if they're like 5 years old, and it's bonkers. So when you see somebody else coming in there saying coherent sentences, saying we're gonna make journalists do journalism, real journalism, we're gonna hold you accountable, we're gonna, like, seems like she's on the ball. I don't know too much about her, but she seems like somebody who is, you guys have a good candidate there. That's hope. And whether she's gonna be, senator, governor lady, or even VP, or even P, dude. If she wants to do full P, no VP later down the line, she seems like somebody I would say you guys should probably like, but again, that's just my opinion. I don't know what, maybe she's got this, like, maybe she's got, I don't know, but that's what it is. From what I've seen, she seems like she's a lady who knows her priorities, or, she's looks like it, at least from this guy's perspective. I don't know too much about the whole thing, but it is exciting to see hopefully a change just towards more common sense, rather than like fear mongering, rather than just pumping out propaganda and nonsense. At least, yeah, let's try to have more coherent people in places of power. And another fella that's been like, I've been seeing a little bit of this as well, and it's just like, what is going on? And again, I'm talking about this fella. Anybody I speak to, these fellas and ladies that are out there, if it's like what I see is funny. I don't even like, and I feel bad sometimes because I'm like, man, this individual, I'm not like trying to like make fun of you for this, because like sometimes it's like, man, that person, you look at him, it's like, I wouldn't even make fun of you if you didn't put yourself in that position. But like I'll see a fellow like John Fetterman, who is, again, nothing against the fella personally. I mean, he's probably a lovely individual, but like, again, tasked with that specific job in politics, which probably, you know, at any level, you want to be impactful, you want to be hearing people out, you want to be able to speak in relation to that and like take ideas. Just like you see this fella on the and he's out there doing things, and you're like, man, this fella should be like, you know what I mean? It's, again, no offense to him, but like for the position that you're, it's just like certain standards and like prerequisites, you know what I mean? Is he like capable of, again, coherent sentences? Is he able to just make proper deductions every now and again? Is he able to, you know, make sense essentially from a politician? Like if he was doing any other role, you know, would have been fine. But like you'll see, it's weird. So yeah, when you do see somebody like Carrie Lake, it's like, oh man, yes, fucking like brains getting erect, right? My nips are getting hard. Because I'm like, that's a great example, because that's a good example to look up to for like, you know, other in that realm, in that world, or like, you know, and that's, oh man, she's not just like a placeholder, you know what I mean? Because certain cats in any position, whether it's politics, sports, entertainment, you'll have a person that's just there because, oh, we need to, for diversity, we need to have somebody of, you know, of color. We need to have this person looks like she's legit for, like, she's proper for the job. It's like based on merits. When she speaks, the way she carries herself, I like what I'm saying. I'm not a US citizen. If I were, I'd probably be like, yo, let's go. But I'm not, so, but I'll still say let's go. But nonetheless, dude, and yeah, like John Fetterman sometimes, like that's an example. I'm like, you know, when I think it was 300 with Gerard Butler and other members of the jacked fucking Spartans, dude, you know when there's a scene of like, I think they're getting ready for a battle, and there's a fella that's, you know, that's not fully able, let's just put it that way, you know what I mean? And again, this is no knock on people with any sort of, you know what I mean? But I'm just saying, when that fella like fucking like, you know, like crawled his way or like moved his way to like Gerard Butler's character, Captain 300, he's like, I want to fight in the good fight. And there was a quick assessment based on what we're seeing. And sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need assessments. And Gerard Butler, Mr. 300, Captain 300, looked at this fella and was like, I appreciate what you're trying to do, but like, you know what I mean? Like, don't make me say it, you know what I mean? Don't put me in that uncomfortable position as well. But essentially is like, we can't have you for this particular job. You could do other jobs, plenty of other jobs that you will be, you know, but like, if you're, you know, and in that particular sense, in the movie, if you can't carry a sword, if you can't throw a ninja star, if you can't fucking roll around and like toss a little, you know, little smoke bomb, if you can't, like, you know, what can you? And he's like, oh, but I can like slowly like crawl on the ground and like bite someone's ankles. Like, you know, it's scalability. You'll be able to like maybe bite a couple of ankles, but we need more than that. We need more than that this time. Like, we need more than just ankle biting. And in this particular scenario, again, like nothing against the fella, any other job, but like maybe he could be like, you know, if we're doing like, you know, if there's like he'd be great at other things. I'm sure he's great at other things. But to hear somebody's like, oh man, you're going to be in charge of something big, an area, a district with people. And again, I'm sure you're very capable and all that jazz, but it's just, again, and you're like, don't judge a book by its cover. Sometimes, fellas, ladies, you gotta judge a book by it. Sometimes it's, yeah, and I'm gonna, you know, most of the times I've been the type of guy that doesn't judge books by their covers, but sometimes I'm gonna say, you know, certain books, fucking like, it's right there on the cover, you know, it's, but I'm just saying, again, nothing against, oh, there it is, testing. So yeah, sometimes you'll see things that is like, whoa, what is happening? But luckily there's alternatives to that when there is a lack of whether coherency or common sense. Sometimes others may arise and just surprise you and be like, and then that's when you hear angels singing and a little, and the clouds parting and a little light shining from the sun and oh, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh man, that was a close call. Whew, you know what I mean? So people like that, gives me hope, and we've got that here in Canada as well. We don't have a Kerry Lake, but we do have beautiful individuals. I'm very hopeful in terms of where I think our politics are heading, where I think we're kind of like swinging back as well, just getting a little bit more common sense in place, just getting our priorities straight. I think our next president is definitely going to be, no, I know for sure he's going to be, it's going to be Pierre, and I do apologize, Pierre, I don't know how to pronounce your last name properly. I thought it was Pierre Poilievre. I've heard Poilievre as well. If at any point, if you just make a little video just clarifying how, because I'd like to be able to say your last name properly. Is it Pierre Poilievre? You know what I'm talking about, Pierre? So that's just what it is. Next Prime Minister, but I do need to know how to say your last name properly. Yeah, up until like a few weeks ago, I thought it was Poilievre. Then I heard somebody else say Poilievre, and I'm like, oh man, got a tricky last name, sir. Not gonna lie to you, but nonetheless, I do like the energy. I like the coherent speaking. I like the fact that you make sense, gives me hope, gets me, again, I get hard right here, dude. Fucking erect. Thank you for doing that. And others like him. There's so many beautiful men and women, again, in different parts of our community doing wonderful things, and we're all interconnected. Like I said, Siamese twins. Fucking, again, stepbrothers and sisters, Don't get too close, but get close. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But like, it's not your fault that you happen to be highly attracted to your sibling, step sibling, and your parents got there to they got there first. So that who made it awkward? It's not on you, I'll tell you that. But nonetheless, we are here, and we're gonna make it work. You know what I mean? So that's just good times, baby. That's just good times. Feeling great. A lot of wonderful things are happening. What else is going on in and around this beautiful planet that is of interest to me and of importance, I guess? As of late, finally, the transition has gone over. Twitter has been purchased. It is official. It's been I just need a little bit of time to let things settle in, because there was a whole period where is Elon gonna buy Twitter? Is Elon not gonna buy Twitter? Is 44 billion enough? Is it not enough? And it finally came to a conclusion. It's been done. He came in and everything, the dust has settled. He came in with a sink. He let it sink in. It's sunk in. People, I think overall I'm trying to assess it as, unbiasedly as possible. And again, I don't know most of the individuals. If you're out there and I happen to speak about you, I don't know you. But if I were to I wouldn't say anything. I try to not to say anything that I wouldn't say to you if I were to see you in person. Keep it $1.50 around here. So yeah, overall, I don't know Elon. I don't know, again, many of the people that, like I said, I don't know people individually and, in depth to be able to so I don't know. In terms of, here, let's assess it prior to Elon taking it over. Twitter, prior to Elon taking it over, I've never dabbled in it. I was never on Twitter, never been on Twitter. For my own reasons, just for what I saw from afar, it didn't seem like a viable means of communication. It didn't seem like it's enough for me anyway at the time. And I don't know, maybe that'll change. From what I saw from afar, though, it's like people come in, whoever it may be, and they just put a little, bunch of characters up there. I think it's limited number of characters. You write something very short, minimal, and then you buzz off, and then people deal with it. And I don't know how well that's worked out up until prior to Elon. I think it was, it felt like a space where people are just coming in and not all the time. And again, to each their own. There are people that utilize everything, well, positively for the way it's meant to be. And there's some instance, and we're all learning, these are all new, so I'm not putting the blame on consumers or even the providers of these techs, because again, I appreciate aspects of the tech. Yes, there's definitely portions of it where it's, again, we're getting to know and learn how to use these things, right? It's going to take some time. So sometimes you see people that utilize it positively, they do whatever, make connections on any platform, and then sometimes you see some people who are just whether sometimes they might even do it anonymously, behind or fake accounts and all that shit, which is, to each their own. I'm not, I like a little bit of accountability in terms of I do get the anonymity aspect of it. So if somebody wants to keep their identity for whatever reason to themselves. But there's definitely like online overall. I think there's a whole bunch of on all the platforms, fake accounts of like bots and who knows, or fake people like pretending to be other people as well, which is weird. So yeah, prior to Elon taking over Twitter, my interpretation or my understanding of Twitter seemed like a place where sometimes people come and like smear shit and just like walk away, or like they're just like, oh, I want to just like jizz a little bit here and just like walk away. Seemed a little bit like that. Testing. And yeah, for those reasons, I was just like, I like podcasts and I like talking in long form. I like listening in long format. I don't think you can get anybody. And I hear some people use it for different means, whether you want to write a little joke or whatever. And there's again positive ways of using it, but there's definitely ways of like, I'm gonna just like again jizz a little bit right here and just fucking just like right there and just walk away. A little bit of that action going on as well. And again, I'm not judging anybody, to each their own. Use it however you like. But for those reasons, I didn't engage. Now that things have changed, and I don't know to what degree, I don't know. Maybe would I? And I'm at that point as like, I'm again very early stages, learning so much. I've only been doing this for 2 years. I hope to be again doing stand-up comedy. I'm trying to get more spots as available as they are to me here, and again continue to do what I do here Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And who knows, down the line in several months, a few months from now, where things will change in different ways. I'm open to so many things. But there is always a thought of me. I'm like, well, I am on social media. I am on YouTube, patreon.com/RobSagri. Thank you very much. And Instagram. Is there any other platform that I could be utilizing to put my content out there? And so that is a legitimate thought. And sometimes I do want to be exposing myself to other platforms just for the sake of, it's what it is, the things that we do today. And I'm going to be picking and choosing. But again, I'm so slow with certain things. I like to take my time. And one thing that the only reasons why I've stuck with Patreon, YouTube, and Instagram, they're not perfect. They're definitely not perfect, but I like the fact that like YouTube is like TV, basically. You know what I mean? So it's replaced TV essentially. Instagram is got potential, but again, their algorithms, I don't know exactly how they work. One thing that's kept me from entering other spaces or platforms is I don't want to join any. I like the fact that YouTube, Instagram, and Patreon, for the most part, they definitely again have their problems. They definitely have their biases and algorithms and agendas based on who owns them, what. But they're really good in a lot of cases as well. So I do have to say that I like the fact that it's like when I'm on Instagram or when I'm on YouTube, I feel like we're all in a conversation. We're all engaging together. Whereas sometimes I'm like, if I were to go to somewhere else, I don't want to join something and have I just want to, if I were to join something, a platform, let's say, I like to know and feel like I'm not joining a camp of left or right or this or that. Because as a content creator, somebody who likes to just put out comedy and fun thoughts, whatever they may be, life experiences, I don't want it to be associated with, oh, you're joining this particular. So if wishful thinking, if I'm putting thoughts out there, I wish that platforms would just allow people to engage as freely as possible without having connotations to them. So with Elon taking over, I hope that there is some sort of a balance, and again, I'm saying this with trying to be as generous with trying to be as, what's the word that I'm looking for? Trying to be as like, give everybody the benefit of the doubt that they're trying their best to, and these are, large companies, many things that are at stake, and you got to probably be juggling a million different things. So I'm not saying it's easy positions, but also I don't want to pretend like, I don't want us to be under any impression that one person or one company is going to come in and like all of a sudden they're going to be the champions or voice for freedom of speech or freedom of expression, because I think that I think those are achieved collectively. I don't think it's just because even that's just how I feel about it. I don't know. So in terms of, yeah, again, Elon, I do have a lot of respect for the fellow just because he's accomplished a hell of a lot more than a lot of people. And again, there's definitely people who come in and say, well, he didn't do it all by himself. There is, government funded operations, and this, that, and the. Nonetheless, overall, just taking everything. Again, I don't try to belittle anybody. I don't try to like be coming from a I don't like to make excuses. If somebody's done something or whatever, like I don't care. As long as the product is good, as long as you're genuinely, if I feel like, and I assess that based on my own understanding of the world, as little as that may be, and be like, okay, this fella, despite the fact that nothing's perfect, and there's so many things that I'm probably unaware of, I hope that it goes towards a more free speech platform. I don't know if any of this made any sense. I hope it did. And I think for the most part, he says he's for free speech. So I think he'll hopefully push that. I don't want to be seeing people getting testing. I don't want to see people, having to jump ship from platform to platform, because that again, it divides, like, oh, if we can't speak here, we'll go there. And those create vacuums, up until prior to Elon, I think Twitter had become a vacuum where it was like, oh man, very, again, from the outside, leaning extremely hard on the left from the outside. I don't know. So hopefully this change will be a little bit of a balancing act. And again, other platforms that are out there are a few that I'm, again, considering, and I'm very slow at moving things along at times. But again, I just, as a person who is in the middle of things, like many people out there who have certain, beliefs or ideas that align with the left, and certain ideas and beliefs that align with the right, a lot of times I think we just overall want what's best for us and each other. So I don't want to have to like be like, oh, maybe I'm not having I don't know what I'm just saying, like, I hope that this is, and I think it will be, hopefully, fingers crossed, and we'll have to see. Well, I guess in a few years we'll really be able to tell if this is if Twitter was, doomed from the get-go. Will this be a shifting move for them? Can Elon and everybody else who's participating on that platform help shape it and move it along a different way? We'll see. And myself included, for the time being, again, I'm only on patreon.com/RobSadri, YouTube, and Instagram. Down the line, I don't know. Maybe I will, maybe I won't join any other platforms. But overall, I just like to be able to speak, put my content out there, and, tickle your membranes and be of service if I may, if I can. So these are the things that are going on right now in and around this beautiful planet. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, what do you guys think? Because this is crucial in terms of having free speech. It's very crucial, but we are definitely getting to that pivotal point, I guess, where we're deciding, do we need some sort of should there be, any sort of refereeing of speech? Really, just, it's a slippery slope. I don't think you should monitor speech at the same rate. There's definitely like blatant. Here's what I'll say: if you're like blatantly advocating for violence, that's probably the only time that I'll be like, okay, there's no room for that. I don't want anybody, But again, it's tricky, man. These are all tricky, and I guess we're finding out together, because now these are new tools that we're all learning to use and incorporate in our lives. But again, very thankful, very optimistic about a lot of things, and I think we are moving in a right direction. And sometimes you just gotta let it stew, baby, and you gotta let time do the work and see how things turn out. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for all the love and support. Every week we get in here, we try to have some fun, and I'm just trying my best to bring forth some entertaining thoughts and comments for you guys out there, and I want to know what you guys think. Feel free to write a comment, feel free to write some input in terms of what you guys think out there about the videos, if you like anything, that kind of, because this is, again, an independent project as much as possible. I'm not affiliated with any corporation, an independent dude trying to make comedy and comedic content out there. And the way I like to work is I like to work with people, friends, close affiliations that I may come to acquire down the line, who knows? But relationships that are essentially real. That's the way this is. And my viewers, again, I thank you a lot for all your time, patience, the love that you put out there. Little by little, the little things that count. It does mean a lot. Again, this is basically my life. This is what I like to be doing, and I'm very passionate and dedicated to it. And it's a long journey, and I'm not in a rush to get anywhere. I think the path is it. So this is what I enjoy doing, and yeah, I thank everybody who's a part of my life, and thank you for letting me be a part of yours. And yes, this is again an independent operation. How can you help to make it better? Again, whether it's comments, whether you agree with something, disagree with something. And I think that's one of the biggest messages of today. I really like conversations that sometimes people disagree with each other, and I like spaces like that as well. So platforms, I don't want platforms to be just like, we're only going to allow this type of talk or that type of talk or this type of whatever it is, and maybe art, sport, like anything, right? I like it to be exposing everything, and for people, individuals, having the choice and option of opting in and out of what they like to consume, not driven by some sort of artificial algorithm, just legit people going in there and be like, oh, I like to check out this guy, I like to check out that lady, what's she cooking, what's he sewing, what's he filing down, what's he chopping there, what's he, and people find their own interests that way, a little bit more naturally, a little bit more organically. Not to say that there isn't any algorithms, there are definitely algorithms there, and sometimes they are good because they're like, oh, well, we know what you like, and here, maybe try these other similar things, and that's nice too. But all I care about is balance. I don't want it to be, I hope that makes sense, a little bit of balance and a little bit of coherence, a little bit of common sense in all aspects of life. I think will get us far. Man, oh man. Boys and girls, I'm excited, very happy. Again, thank you for all the love, support, and the privilege of letting me be a part of your lives. I'll be back here again on Friday. Gonna have ourselves a fun, silly episode on Friday, as per usual. Rock and roll, baby. It's Wednesday, hump day. Go get it out there. Talk to you all soon. Peace out.